Well, Marion County being somewhat rural, we didn't have 911.
Wow.
A lot of things you and I may take for granted today, we didn't have back then because we were, like I say, a rural community. The courthouse went through an expansion, and then the parking facility. Along with that, we had more judge chambers. We had, of course, more inmates being that we need to take care of, so we had 2 jail pod expansions. We had a landfill that back then, same one we use today, based on landfill. A group of individuals took that facility over, our landfill, and they really did some bad things, and we're probably still spending a lot of money today to correct their problems that they left us. But fast forward to why I'm here today is I just feel your government isn't listening. I feel sometimes the mind's already made up before you get there, and I've seen too many things take place that I don't subscribe to, and that's one of the reasons I'm a candidate.
Now, one of the criticisms we've heard of the current county commission lineup is that they made some decisions without even allowing the voters to vote. And I don't know if that was a money decision or not. The baseball park would be one of them, or the baseball stadium. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, should everything be put before the voters, or should the elected officials do what elected officials are elected to do, which is to vote on our behalf?
I think the basics, the everyday administration, those type issues, of course, you can't have that on a ballot. But when it comes to something of that magnitude that you just discussed, something big, I think it should. And I saw start with Amendment 11. 61% of Marion County voters voted to give a tax credit or a tax break to certain senior citizens that qualified. And all my opponent to do was ratify it. And he elected not to do that. And I thought, gosh, a lot of veterans lost their lives so they could vote. So I could vote, and that vote wasn't listened to. And I thought, God, what a slap in the face. Then I saw the baseball, and whether you would have voted for it or not, up or down, I believe that should have been handled properly so at least the citizens could have had the chance to vote that up or down. And that all started maybe way back when the city was actually discussing it. The county should have been brought in, so there were no surprises. And I would like to think I can bring that to the table, the ability to work with the city and the county, so we don't ever have these kind of problems again. And then I saw the sales tax issue coming. Whether you were for it or not, I am an advocate of the proper public safety. And had public safety and your roads been on there, you and I could have had the chance in the August 26th election to vote for that. Now that that's come and gone, there's no option. If you are to increase any of that, it's going to have to come on the backs of ad valorem taxes, which are the property owners. Right. Where the other way, if it was on the ballot and it was approved, it would be spread across everyone. In one way or the other, it should have been on the ballot for us to at least had a vote. Now, if it does make it to the November ballot, it's too late for the 2014-2015 election. So we're going to be back in a quandary again. And I'm wondering, how can I say this? Lack of leadership, I think that should have been on the August ballot, and we could have had the opportunity to vote it up or vote it down. So I think those are some pretty important issues.
Have you been in the community the entire time since the 80s? Have you been here the whole time?
I'm a transplant. I moved from Fort Lauderdale in 1980. Well, I was born in New York, moved to Fort Lauderdale with my mother and father at 1955, 1956. Okay. And so I'm fairly close to being a Floridian, and moved to Marion County in 1981. Okay. And got involved in the community. And saw the phenomenon of growth. I knew you could see the writing on the wall was coming our way. Right. As for instance, like I say, the mall where we're sitting. Boy, this was a game changer, I think, for Marion County, because the growth now was coming out to the State Road 200 area. I got involved in the community, from the Friends of the Library to the Southeastern to First Step Food Bank to a lot of boards, and I got to see the inner workings of Marion County. Got involved with the building industry because I'm a building contractor with their organization, became president of their organization, and little by little I saw the politics of Marion County, and that's really what got me stirred to be a candidate back in '88. You know,
the one thing that, and I'm speaking on behalf of not only myself, but I know many listeners that would call in with this, was when the County Commission and the Marion County School Board were at each other's throats about the water drainage and all that. It just seemed crazy to the rest of us. It just, the city?
Might have been the city.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that, am I mistaken about that?
Regardless, I think we need to be able to work together with each other. Yeah. I think that's pretty much the key, because if you think of it, at the end of the day, we represent the citizens of Marion County. And I hate to see that adversarial situation. Now, two commissioners can have different views, and I think they need to air those if they think one is better than the other.
Sure. Well, that's what debate is for.
That's exactly what it's for. I just hate to see that become a no-win situation with the issue you just mentioned.
Are there any areas currently that are wasteful that you would like to fix?
Yes. I'm not an advocate of corporate welfare, and my opponent has been supporting $20 million of your taxpayer money that was given to a private sector to start a landfill in another county that we're not utilizing. It's just sitting there. And, you know, we created jobs. Well, we created jobs in another community, another county by doing it. We created ad valorem in another county with our tax dollars. I think that's wrong. If I was sitting in office today, I would definitely make sure your $20 million is properly utilized. To say that they need a better break and give them a little more time and let's fill up our landfill, those are just excuses. We need results if you have our money. That's one of the many things. And then it comes back to public safety, which I think should be government's #1 priority. You know, if you need a deputy or a first responder of any kind, fire service, ambulance, you need them there as quickly as possible. You need the best professionals you can have. And when I see our law enforcement leaving at a record number, where, if I'm not mistaken, our sheriff's wife, Mrs. Blair, is an instructor at the police academy. If I'm told, the last 3 graduating classes, we didn't even get any candidates to come to Marion County. So there's something wrong there we need to fix. Same thing with fire services. We have the fire college right here in Marion County. We should have the cream of the crop firefighters, but they don't want to come here. They're going to other areas.
Why? Because of the pay?
Most likely it's because of the pay, yes, sir. And if you eliminate the waste, I just threw out $20 million for a landfill we're not using. If you utilize the taxpayer dollars properly, you can do all these things and not raise your taxes. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. I mean, for instance, the other day, I think it was $7.8 million my opponent voted on to buy someone's utility. Government should not be buying private sector businesses. It should be the reverse. If anything, we're going to privatize what we do. I would have never done something like that. So that's 27, almost $28 million right there.
Yeah.
In 2 votes that, you know, if that money wasn't spent in that direction, was spent properly for public safety, you would be able to accomplish all this without raising taxes.
And the relationship between the county commission and the sheriff's office, I mean, that's another area where money is always an issue.
Well, you just don't throw money to solve a problem. I mean, that's not the way to do it. But you need to meet a happy ground somewhere. When I was in office, Sheriff Moreland, and that gentleman to me depicted a sheriff. No disrespect to any other sheriffs prior to or after, but he would get with me when I was a commissioner. And he'd explain things that I might not understand. I could question things with him. And he had deputies there so we could have that dialogue.
Well, that's an important thing. I've thought that all along, is that we need, even in Congress, we need people who are leaders and can communicate better. Well, Glenn, thank you for taking advantage of the 10 minutes that WOCA is offering our candidates. Do you have a website you want to tell our listeners about?
Yes, it's Glen, G-L-E-N, Fiorello, Fiorello.org. And I do appreciate this. I really do. I've got a long history of WOCA from the Bill Patton days.
Yeah.
And hopefully your listeners will remember Glen Fiorello, August 26th. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in. All right, we went a little bit long because we started late, but I wanted to make sure that Glenn was able to get his 10 minutes that we promised him, and we'll take a little break right now, and we'll be back. This is The Source, WOCA.
You've got a garden, and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
Don't get caught without your daily source of senior deals. Pick up your copy of the Senior Voice newspaper. It's your source for schedule and events tailored to seniors, with information you need, like a list of free events in the area. We even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company to you that fits your needs. And all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about them. For more information, call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223. And pick up your copy of the Senior's Voice at most any business up and down the 200 corridor.